And in Denmark, there's also an idea that's sort of poo-pooed. Trust is sort of like heralded and everyone's into it. But the idea that's poo-pooed is this concept of curling, which seems to be something that parents in the US and the UK are really into. So what's curling?
Named after the sport where you're kind of going ahead of your with brooms trying to make space. And the idea is that you're clearing out any obstacles away from your children, also known as helicopter parenting. But there's not so much of it, I would say, in the Nordic countries. In Denmark, my Danish parent friends were the best teachers. They were explaining how to do things on a day-by-day basis when I am clueless. I am always the idiot in these situations. So every day was a school day. But they would explain to me things like it's instead of intervening and doing things for your kids, you set it up so that they can do it for themselves. So, for example, you make sure that all the hooks where their coats or their backpacks for school are all in an area that they can reach them, a place where they can put them away. You make sure that perhaps the food that you want them to help prepare or to set the table or something, that all of that is accessible to them. And so you're not doing it for them, but you're kind of thinking ahead, thinking, what are the obstacles to the child doing what I want them to do? And how do I make sure that they're not there, that they're not adult created? So it's more, I guess, focusing what's behind the behavior rather than on the behavior. So in Denmark, a child is never necessarily acting out. It's more that there is a reason for that behavior. And if the adult can pinpoint that, they can help and they can stop it happening from next time. And yeah, it's quite child-led, I'd say.
This was the part of your book that seems so different from American parenting, right? We just recently had a big report by our Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, at the time, who talked about one of the main things parents are experiencing these days is guilt, just this negative emotion of not doing enough stuff. But it seems like Danish parents are able to do that without guilt. How does that work?
It's not perfect. And there will, of course, be examples of parents who do feel guilty about stuff. But I think, again, if you take this basic idea that respect is a given, that everyone is worthy just because they exist, you don't have to prove yourself. You are enough just because you exist, which is mind-blowing for people of my generation. What I see with parent friends from other countries is if a parent is feeling a little guilty, there will be a tendency perhaps to overcompensate. Maybe that's with gifts, maybe that's with food, maybe that's with saying, oh, that's the best picture I've ever seen, well done. And the Danish way is not to do that so much. Firstly, you wouldn't, as a Danish child, you wouldn't know if your parents thought something you'd done necessarily was good or not, but also it wouldn't matter because you would know you were loved anyway, just because. And secondly, the idea is that if a child is constantly being praised and overpraised from an external person, they will spend their whole life seeking external validation. Which I think many of us will find familiar. So actually, it's much better for a child to develop their own internal idea of, I think this is good, or I think I can do something a bit different next time. And then they have that internal compass that, again, helps with autonomy, for feeling stronger, feeling more sort of in control of the world. The world is a big, scary place, but you feel more in control if you think, no, I know that's the right thing to do, or that I didn't quite like the way that went. And so instead of looking for external validation, they just center themselves and they get to know themselves a little bit. And it means that not every picture needs to go up on the refrigerator, and that you're not constantly telling your child that they're the best at everything, because they won't be. They're not.